If you were causing harm, how would you want someone to tell you? Would you even want someone to tell you? Maybe you know you're causing harm, but you're like, I have no idea what else to do, right? Because you have conditioning and because you're afraid to admit the things you do because people might judge you, right? Because we love to judge each other in this day and age. We like to pretend we're perfect and you're not, and I'm gonna judge you for being a bad parent or doing this thing that you've done or whatever, right? So we are all micro versions of America. Not even just America, we are micro versions of the world. We are smaller versions of the way that the world is. So everything that we don't like about what's going on right now also exists in us. And the point I'm trying to make is world leaders, countries, whatever, are all coming from a place of wounding and guilt and shame. And just as much as you don't want to admit the things that you've done because you might not be forgiven and because we might not even have the capacity to hold you and say, wow, I see why you've done the things that you've done. Just like that doesn't happen a lot of times. It's starting to happen more between people. That's why things aren't changing on a macro level. We need to be able to look at one another and hold one another, and instead of judging and condemning and punishing, we need to have forgiveness and compassion. We need to be able to hold people doing what we consider the worst thing possible and ask why. And we need to forgive because we can't even forgive each other. Why would a country admit that what they're doing is wrong? They're afraid of the consequences. So we need to change on an individual level. It does not help us anymore to condemn. As horrible as things are happening, we have been condemning forever and it has not changed anything. When a sex offender is a sex offender, when someone's an abuser, when you yell at your children, when every behavior so small you might not even think it's harmful, it's being done because it was taught. So when people say you should have known better, like that is an excuse to not hold someone. That's an excuse for you to not do the work to be able to hold, to be able to understand and have compassion. We need to expand our ability to hold everything and to not make excuses why one is worse than another, why one is acceptable over another, like it all is. We are very comfortable blaming. We are very comfortable saying, well, at least I don't do that. At least I don't do that. Everything is a part of it. We want to blame because then we don't have to change. But what if that is the only way? Is that each one of us on an individual level changes and is able to hold the pain and the grief and in our own lives, in our own communities, with the people that it's the hardest with, right? Our family, which our family is like a metaphor for our country, right? Like where we come from, the people who gave us all this that were like, why, what do I do with this pain? What do I do with this? We have to transform it. We have to forgive it, because if we don't, we will perpetuate it. If we don't understand it, the pain, the root of the pain within ourselves, we will continue it. And nothing will heal. We have to forgive ourselves what we've done unknowingly, and we have to forgive each other so that then it can transform. And this isn't to say that I agree with anything that's happening. Of course I don't agree with pain. Of course I don't agree with suffering. I want it to end. And I believe this is the way. So, that's all.